There are a number of new construction and renovation projects underway in Cape May County. Plus, Cape May County is working hard to make sure that visitors come back again and again this fall. That's all next on the Cape May County Report. Welcome to the Cape May County Report. I'm Lenora Bonafonte, Cape May County Communications Director, along with Freeholder Director Gerald M. Thornton. And joining us now is Anne-Marie McMahon, who is the Director of Facilities and Services for Cape May County. Thank you for joining us.
Thank you.
Director, the past 2 years there have been a number of changes in Cape May County government, and one of the new changes is our new Facilities and Services Director that you appointed, Anne McMahon. She is the first female Director of Facilities and Services for Cape May County.
And we're very happy to have her, and I was just elated because Anne-Marie has been with the County of Cape May for 7 years. And you know, all these years that I promote people to department heads, I make sure that they're the right person for the job. And Anne-Marie has that supervision and that leadership, and she has the education, and she has the experience being an architect. And it's so very important to have her with those skills as Director of Facilities and Services. And also, you know, she's got a large group of employees there, and she supervises them every day, and I usually call her on the phone about every day and try and bug her about another project. So.
Well, also, Anne-Marie, you have an architectural degree, so that's an asset too as you come in as Director of Facilities and Services. You've been there since March as Director. When people think of facilities and services, they think of building, they think of maintenance and cleaning them, but there's so much more that Facilities and Services does in the County of Cape May. Tell us about Facilities and Services, an overview of what you do.
Facilities and Services, we oversee all of the county construction projects. So not only do we act as project managers on subcontracted projects, but we also conduct in-house labor projects. So we have carpenters, contractors, all sorts of tradesmen that do our in-house projects for us.
And people may not know, when you take a look at Cape May County government, there are a variety of buildings and locations and different types of facilities, such as the airport or senior centers, libraries, the park and zoo, the veteran cemetery. So you have to make sure that all of that is on par.
Correct. We have 120 county buildings, not including the park and zoo buildings. There's another 64 that we also maintain. So they range anywhere from Ocean City to Cape May. So there are many that we maintain.
Now also, Director, as you know, and you've been with the county for more than 28 years as freeholder, there's a variety of buildings in the county, from historic buildings to new buildings. What plan does the county have when you have to take a look at such a diversified group of facilities, keeping them up to date and to make sure that they're not in disrepair?
Well, that's the biggest. That's the biggest thing. That's the most important thing. Is the routine maintenance on all those structures. If we just do the routine maintenance, those facilities will last 30, 40, 50 years without any major construction. As a major project we have going on now that Anne-Marie brought to the attention of the board because was the new county jail. That project was on the drawing boards with architectural drawings and everything else for probably more than 6 years. When I became director a year and a half ago, I said, okay, we've got to get this on the table and get this job going. And Anne-Marie, because of her skill and knowledge, came in and said, look, there's problems here with these plans. And when she brought that forward to myself and to the board, and you know, that project initially there 6 or 7 years ago was a $14 million project. Then suddenly, because of all these years and some changes that were made and requirements that we had, new requirements for a correctional facility, that then jumped up to almost $20 million. Then Anne-Marie came in and said, I'm telling you right now that it's not good business just to refurbish that and bring it up, because we're much better off spending another $4 million and building a new jail. And she was absolutely right. And she convinced myself and the board, which is important because now we'll have a structure that's brand new that will last 30, 40 years without any major maintenance. versus refurbishing a building that may last 10 or 15 years, and then you go back and you have to do it over again. So that was very important, and that's why she's so valuable to us. Anne Marie is so valuable.
So that's one of the new construction projects that now you're working on for Cape May County. The new correctional facility, as Director said, that was going to be a $14 million expansion. Now it's a new facility. So now what takes place? What is the timeline with the construction of that new correctional center?
We had to go out to RFP, which is a request for proposals for architectural firms who have experience with jail design. We are receiving the proposal September 4th, and the scheduled completion date for that will be spring of 2015. There's an 18-month construction time period for that project.
Now there are a number of other new projects that you're working on for the county. The county, along with the Library Commission, is building 2 new libraries, one in the borough of Stone Harbor, one in the borough of Wildwood Crest. Tell us about the new libraries and where we stand with them.
Stone Harbor, we purchased the Bank of America building. We demolished that building, and we are meeting with the architect to revise plans, to establish plans for that new building. There will be large meeting room spaces, museum, program areas, obviously library stack spaces. We're trying to make it fit into the community there. There's the adjacent administration building. There's the little shops along the street, so we're really trying to make it, a part of the neighborhood.
So when you build new projects, you don't just look at what you need for that structure, but so that it blends in with the community that it's in.
Yes.
Now, Director, when you're done with the 2 new libraries, you're also doing renovations at the courthouse library. When that's complete, you would have either renovated or built new libraries for all Cape May County systems.
Either built new or refurbished for the entire system. I mean, Anne Marie and Facilities and Services has done an outstanding job. The Veterans Cemetery is probably an example. The Veterans Cemetery is almost 33 years old now, and it just needed some cosmetic things done that were long overdue. And we got together with the veterans organizations and Anne Marie and the Facilities and Services people, and I can tell you the job they're doing over there now. They're in the process. It's well done. I'm really impressed. And then we have the 3rd floor of the courts, which for 24, 25 years now has just been vacant up there. The assignments judge contacted me about 6 or 7 months ago and said, look, we're getting a lot of demands. We have the new drug court coming online, and there's going to be some new judges here, and we need space. And so now the next project, which will start, I guess, around December, right? Anne Marie, around December, we'll start taking a look at that, and then use that space over there, because in that court building on that 3rd floor, it's amazing how much space is up there, and it's just being wasted. And so now's the time to do it. And another thing that's really nice about doing it now is that our bonding rates are really down very low. We just got an excellent bond rate the other day, and also construction costs are down. So now is the time that any major projects we should do.
Now, Anne Marie, and also when you're looking to construct the projects, one of the things that the Board of Chosen Freeholders and the county is committed to is building energy efficient buildings, building green. I know you did that with the Seattle City Library. You're doing that with the new libraries. Tell us about building green and what will take place in those buildings there.
My department is responsible for paying the bills for the county. So when I see the bills that come in, obviously, I do whatever I can to try to make everything energy efficient. So, we upgrade lighting in our existing buildings. We switched a lot of our buildings over to LED fixtures on the exterior. We put low flush toilet fixtures and high efficiency HVAC systems. So anything we can do to save taxpayer dollars, we do that with any new design and any renovation we do.
So any of the new facilities, they're all being built so that they're energy efficient, and also when you renovate, as you're renovating the senior center in Upper Township, any renovations, you make sure that you do energy efficient as well.
Yes.
Tell us about the renovations at the senior center.
We hired an outside contractor for the project. They've just finished the new roofing. New windows are being installed. The interior will be completely renovated, new flooring, new light fixtures, new paint, new furniture. It's going to be a more usable space and completely upgraded space.
Now, when you take a look at the projects that you're working on, there are so many different projects that you worked on because the type of buildings that are part of the county are different, where you have historic buildings such as the Beasley House that you renovated and had to take into consideration the age and year of that house. And then to new construction, where at the mosquito department, you're building a green roof. So when you go to look at these projects, you know, how, first of all, do your people have to be to do that? And then what do you look at? How do you know what needs to be done with the different projects?
Well, obviously for historic structures, we have to make sure anything we do coincides with historic preservation. So we have to look up the codes and see what the requirements are, and you know, Paria from the museum has helped a lot. There are, you know, a couple avenues that we go to just to make sure that we're keeping in line with, you know, any type of historic upgrades we're going to make. As far as the green roofs that we do, we just did our first green roof at the mosquito control building. It's a covered front porch. Over the center doorway, the entryway, there's the green roof area and then a pergola on either side of it. So it's not only acting as a sunblock to conserve energy within the building, but it's also our first green roof for the county. So we're just completing that now. It's great.
Now, Director, even though green roofs have been around for years, for Cape May County, this is new. And when you look at this, plus all the new technology that the county is using to make sure that we build green and efficient, why is it important that we stay on top of the technology and the latest trends to save taxpayer dollars?
Well, one thing that's very important, and you hit it on the head, is that we have to save taxpayers' dollars. But another thing that we have to look at is that we have to use the most modern technology that's available, which will take us into the future, so that it's compatible with us as we go into the future, and that's extremely important. I said earlier, talking to Anne Marie about the green roof, I said that technology has been around for 3,000 years, and here we are today using that technology. So I think it's very important, and some of those things that were done in the past were cost efficient, and people are looking at them today, and I think that's important. Another thing that Anne Marie has done when we talk about energy efficiency in the nursing home, she just purchased all brand new windows that Facilities and Services is going to install in the nursing home. Underneath, they're going to replace all the piping underneath, because that's a maintenance issue that's going to be addressed. So those things, and when you have that amount of structures that you deal with, and all the myriad of problems that is incurred every day, it's very important that we keep up with it. And I will say this honestly, because I've watched the skill. We've got a great staff. We have got craftsmen in the county of Cape May that really surprise me at how skilled they are.
And through the years, when there have been new construction projects or renovations, I know that you have compared either hiring someone to do them or doing labor in-house, and so much has been saved by doing it in-house through the years.
Right.
Now, one of the other projects that I do want to talk about is, of course, this month is September, and of course the anniversary of September 11th, and the Freeholders on September 11th will be dedicating a new memorial outside the county administration building. And Anne Marie has been very instrumental working with the prosecutor's office and the county to make sure that we have a wonderful memorial to the heroes of September 11th. Anne Marie, tell us about what the memorial will look like on September 11th when it's unveiled.
We received artifacts from the Pentagon building. We also received soil from the Shanksville, PA site, and we're actually set to receive a piece of steel from the Trade Center. So we're looking to incorporate all of those into a style that memorialize all three locations.
So looking at a timetable with the larger pieces of steel, if we have putting them in the backdrop and the time that those buildings were hit, and then actually with the 3 pieces from the Pentagon that you have, and then the piece from Flight 93 to go in time.
Correct.
So now, Director, you have been committed to not only holding memorial services, but remembering September 11th. Why is this important that the county continues to do this?
Not only the county of Cape May, I think it's important for the nation to remember that was probably the worst attack we've ever had on our nation. I made the point several times during the 9/11 ceremony that, you know, Pearl Harbor, we had approximately 24,000 deaths at Pearl Harbor. The 9/11 attack on this nation, we lost close to 3,000 people. And if you remember, 1941, we went to war in World War II over Pearl Harbor. Now, if this nation doesn't realize how important it is to remember that day and remember those families and all those people that were killed, it's extremely important. I can tell you, I can't imagine, and I've known people personally who had sons and daughters that were killed there. A guy I worked with, his brother-in-law was one of the pilots on the aircraft. So believe me, I will tell you, this nation has an obligation to remember just those 9/11 people and all its veterans who have served.
Okay, well, thank you for joining us, Anne Marie, Director. We're going to take a break, and when we come back, we'll find out what the county's doing to make sure our visitors come back again and again and again this fall. So stay with us.
How far would you go to discover a new treasure? How far to stand on the edge of the earth, to step back in time, to be amazed? How far would you go to lower your heart rate, to heighten your senses, to breathe, really breathe? Your journey begins at njsouthernshore.com, New Jersey's Southern Shore region. How far would you go to feel young again? How far to capture the sun, to walk in the wild, to celebrate new traditions? How far would you go to just slow things down? Your journey begins at njsouthernshore.com, New Jersey's Southern Shore region.
Welcome back to the Cape May County Report. I'm Lenora Bonafonte, Cape May County Communications Director, and joining me now is Freeholder Marie Hayes and the Director of Tourism for Cape May County, Diane Whalen. Thank you for joining me. 10 months ago, Freeholder, Superstorm Sandy hit the region and devastated parts of the Jersey Shore in the north in Cape May County. We were lucky that we weren't hit as hard, but of course, the roller coaster in the ocean became the symbol of the Jersey Shore, and in Cape May County we had to get into gear to make sure that people knew we were open, with our tourism industry being over a $5 billion industry. How important was that we made sure visitors came back to Cape May County and the Jersey Shore this year?
Well, as you know, Lenora, I mean, that's our #1 revenue in Cape May County, so it was extremely important. And I think the most important thing was to get that word out immediately that we are open for people to come back. And I mean, that was the utmost important to us. So that's why I turned to our Director of Tourism, Diane Whalen, who's there's nobody better than her. So
now, Diane, you had already been in the works promoting Cape May County and the region to tourists, as you've done throughout the year, to come to Cape May County. But this was a particular challenge because now you had to step it up and make sure that people knew that you were open. What steps did you take, and how difficult was it?
Well, we started November 1. right after the storm, we had to regroup, take a look at our marketing plan. We had freeholders involved. We needed to know, what can we start our program now? Funding was certainly a concern. We spend most of our marketing dollars promoting the summertime. Robbing Peter to pay Paul, just getting the dollars together. But it was so important that we had to get the message out that we were okay. And what we found was the further people are away from Cape May County, the more we were identified as one destination, the Jersey Shore. So we needed to make sure that to our Canadian friends, to those that are further away from, rather than just the Philadelphia, New York market, but those that are out in the Pittsburgh area and beyond, that we were okay while still being sensitive to those areas that were damaged. So that was one of the most important messages that we had to get out there, and we used television, we used print, we had a lot of friends in the media who also worked with us and gave us some really great pricing because they knew the importance of getting our message out. But I think one of the greatest things that we learned was that, we all need to have a plan. This could happen at any time, and I think it's all about lessons learned, that you might move along for a decade and not have this problem and everything runs smoothly, but you need a plan that you can regroup, redirect your marketing, and understand where the problems are, where they aren't. One of our concerns was that many of our visitors, our feeder markets, is North Jersey and New York. Well, they were hit as well, and it's not necessarily that the damage to the beaches, but the damage to the homes. And these people, are they going to plan vacations? Are they going to be able to take them? So he needed to redirect and move our marketing efforts a little more into the Pittsburgh area, a little further into Wilkes-Barre, to try to make up for that, because tourism is a $5 billion industry, and it's very important that we keep up, and we're right there on our game, top of our game, to make sure that our visitors, number one, knew that we were okay, number two, that we were able to recoup some of the losses that we knew we were going to feel.
So it's being ready, starting over, and gearing up your campaign earlier than it had to be. But also, as you said, how important it is, the #1 industry for Cape May County. It's important for our businesses, for everyone here, so that they're able to continue on in Cape May County. Now, as the summer season is winding down here in Cape May County, what are your projections? How well did we do?
Well, we had, I'm calling it the perfect storm scenario that really had very little to do with Sandy, but everything to do with the changes in the mindset of visitors. People, the economy has certainly affected people. It's not what you pay at the gas pump when you go on vacation, but how fuel costs, energy costs have impacted year round. People are looking more to pay down debt rather than to put vacations on credit cards. It's a debit rather than a credit society. And we've been talking about the new normal in tourism, and our businesses, we work with them to make sure that they understand that it's not business as usual. The storm certainly was the catalyst that got everyone thinking, but there were so many other factors that came into play this year. And we did our business survey, and it came back, our business community came back with a 1 to 5 rating. How was the season? It came back 3.3. So we're kind of between fair and good, which is really, we're pretty happy with that. We didn't know. Right? The economy certainly is a concern.
The weather was not favorable in June.
All of our benchmarks. We had an early Easter, we had a cold spring, we had a wet June. Season didn't start till 4th of July. So then you really had a shorter time to recoup. And so we fared fairly well. It's going to be back to the economy, and we have to understand that this was happening. This was something that was slowly coming into play, and we all need to readjust how we do business as well as how we market.
Now, when you looked at who came to Cape May County, did we see the same visitors that normally came? Did we see a decrease from North Jersey visitors? Did we see an increase in Canadian visitors? I know you market heavily in Canada, promoting to Cape May County.
Well, we've been talking to our businesses and getting them more involved in our fall campaign, and more than often they're saying, thank goodness we had the Canadians, because we did see an increase in Canadian visitors that had a lot to do with the favorable exchange rate. Their economy is doing very well, and we're talking now, second and third generation of families that are coming, so we have more of them who come to the Jersey Cape to vacation here. They're not just the campers, now they're into the hotels, motels, rentals, so they've been very important to us. We also know that they are important to the restaurant and retail sector, so the Canadians were certainly a big help. I think that we still are seeing our families. We're still seeing baby boomers, couples that are coming. The rentals we have, 47% of our dwellings are considered rentals or second homes, so that's important to us. While they may not be staying at hotels and motels, they certainly are supporting our events and our attractions, restaurant and retail.
So Freeholder, when we see the summer season winding down, and as Diane said, it's a fair season, what do you feel the county needs to do to continue to support tourism and market it throughout the year so that we keep the industry going?
Well, I think we're doing exactly what has to be done. We have a lot to offer. The fall season is a wonderful season. I mean, that's one of the things I love about living in Cape May County, is that September and October are just beautiful months, and so many things we have to do in the county. So I think, and visitors know that. And just before we move on to anything else, I just want to put in a plug for Diane, because Diane saw what we had in the Canadian market, and so she took it a step further, and she asked the Lieutenant Governor, Kim Quidano, to go with her to Canada, and they marketed Cape May County, and I think it has had an unbelievable effect on our economy. So I have to say kudos to our director.
So it's important, to keep expanding markets, but then also a market that you can count on, that you've been growing through the years, to continue to focus on that, as Diane has done with Canada.
Yeah. And one of the things that we have to offer here that is not something you'll find in every community or every county is the diversity of attractions. So we have the wineries, and that's a whole new industry that we never had before. And I look back and say, how many times do we have that opportunity to promote a whole new industry and attract a whole new demographic? It's basically year-round. So when we look at what we have to offer, from the camping to the beaches, the boardwalk, and the historic attractions, our nature-based activities that we have here, we have something to offer for everyone. And when it's not a beach day, there's certainly a lot of other things like our zoo that give our visitors plenty to do and a compelling reason to return.
So as when summer is winding down, people think summer's behind us, we're done with the shore. It's not so here in Cape May County, and you are promoting for people to come back again and again while they were here on vacation. You have a campaign that you used this summer so that while they were here, they would know what was happening in the fall. Tell us about the fall back to the shore and the boomerang campaign.
We discussed this the last year, and we kind of jokingly called it the boomerang effect. Market to people while they're here. You like us in the summer, you'll love us in the fall. So it became our boomerang campaign. We had grant funding through the Division of Travel and Tourism to promote it. It is now in full swing. We promoted it all summer to the visitors while they're here, and we have a website that's called Fall for the Jersey Cape. And in that, we were able to develop the whole website, and we invite visitors to go on and see what kind of attractions and incentives, values, what people are looking for. The businesses are now able to put up their information, and we have an array of businesses who are giving us discounts and incentives to bring people back.
So if you want to find out what to do in Cape May County this fall and a reason to come back, fallforthejerseycape.com. I'm Lenora Bonafonte. Until next time, see you on the Cape May County Report. Thank you for joining us. Thank you, Doug.